settle in. Mike McCarthy really decided to sit out the 2025 season?
Good morning and welcome to the Hodge Pack, sports, life, and everything in between right here on 106.9 The Country Giant. We're glad that you're with us. Kicking off your weekend, getting ready for February starts tomorrow, end of the month, closing in on the end of the football season. We've got Hodge, Misty, and Josh ready to get you ready for us. Reason why we're at the Super Bowl, we look back at the championship weekend and Misty's excitement of the Chief tattoo she's probably working on getting. And we've got so much to talk about. The Flying Bison getting ready to kick off season number 2, and we will have new manager Kyle Dyson and general manager John Stark in here as they get ready for their second annual Bison Badge, second annual season kickoff. Lots of stuff going on. They'll be excited to share about that as well. And then, of course, we have a new hire. We have a new sheriff in town, the Shotty, taking his Shotty. He's got a nickname from the get-go, and Jerry has been taking shots. He says that's how he got here, and there's so many things to take with that on what type of shots that Jerry has been taking. And again, we just got a lot of stuff to talk about. Misty's Bag, of course, brought to you by Mulligan's. We are in the Toast studio, and so it's good stuff. Misty, Josh, we are winding down on the end of another month, and things are rolling.
Yeah, January is always like the longest month of the year, I feel like. So we have survived the month of January, and it's been a crazy month.
It's been very busy.
Yeah,
very, very busy.
It's been a wild month.
Yeah, and so lots going on. Tons to talk about in our Lawrence Hall headline report, and so we're going to dive right into that. AC.
Ryan tickled himself.
No, it's Slurp Boy over here.
I did kind of slurp.
I'm like,
I stopped it and it did slurp, but it was a good slurp.
And then I said Ryan and not Hodge, and it felt weird.
Yeah,
when I said it.
It was very, very slurpy. But and so as we,
you don't know how good it was.
That's about to be a hot key.
It could be a hot key, yes. So as we slurp into the weekend, lots going on, and there's the news have been coaching hires, and one of those, we'll talk about the NFL, but one of the big hires that happened in Abilene, Texas this past week was Coach Keith Patterson hiring a new offensive coordinator. Rick Bowie left, went to Western Kentucky, and he hired a very staple name to the state of Texas, really to college football and to the NFL. I mean, a little bit, cup of coffee in there. But ACU hires new offensive coordinator Graham Harrell, Texas Tech legend, recently part of the elected class of the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame class, and Super Bowl champion. He was on the Packers with that. So Graham Harrell coming to Texas, coming back to Texas, coming to ACU to be the offense coordinator. That is a splash of a hire for Coach Patterson and the Wildcats.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's so exciting. Obviously, if you're a Tech fan, it's even more exciting. But yes, just what a win for Coach KP. Couldn't be more excited for them and what they're going to do coming off of an amazing season last year. So it's going to be another year for ACU.
Yeah, I think it's a great hire for him, a great recruiting tool with Graham Harrell's coming into your living room, and obviously known for his great time at Tech, throwing the big catch pass to Crabtree. Big hire for Coach Patterson. And bit of a breaking news, we will have Coach Keith Patterson and Graham Harrell on the show next Friday to talk about coming back home. Of course, a big season to look back for ACU. Blaine Taylor, one of the receivers, played in the East-West Bowl last night. And so good things happening for ACU. And really, Keith Patterson, very similar to Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer waited until 51 to get his first head coaching job. Coach Patterson waited until in his 50s to get his first head coaching job as well. And so congratulations to ACU, big hire there. The NFL vacancies have been hired. Everybody's set except the Saints. It looks like Kellen Moore is the leading candidate for that job. Of course, Kellen Moore is busy trying to win a Super Bowl with the Eagles. But you have the Jets hired Aaron Glenn. The Bears hired Ben Johnson. Liam Cohen, I don't know if y'all saw Liam Cohen. He may be the new comedy relief guy. Said some weird stuff. He's a young kid. Didn't know how to say their Duval deal and looked a little weird, like he might have been on something.
It's very strange.
It was
Duval.
no, his face, and I'll do it for those that are watching. Duval, and I'm like,
what are you on?
yeah, it was extremely weird. And then of course Pete Carroll going to the Raiders. I thought that was interesting. When we were going into last weekend, we thought there was a chance Pete Carroll was going to get interviewed with the Cowboys. And then instead of being interviewed for the Cowboys, we find out that he's going there. And then Friday night is when they made the decision. And listening to the radio guys, they're always talking about, the weekend media dump normally comes around 5. Like, here's the weekend, we're done, and we're going on our day. They didn't make the decision to hire Brian Schottenheimer till like 9 o'clock that night. And Adam Schefter talked about this past Tuesday on Unsportsmanlike how he got a call from Jerry Jones at like 9 o'clock at night that, we're hiring Brian Schottenheimer. And so Schottenheimer's there. We'll talk more about that in our 8 o'clock hour because I've got a lot of things. I've watched the press conference. I was telling Misty and Josh. I've watched the press conference of Brian Schotty, as they like to call him, Jerry and Steven. I've watched it 3 times. It's an hour and 8 minutes long. And it's literally like when you watch a movie over and over, you get something new out of it every time. And it's definitely weird. So Mike McCarthy says he's not going to coach in 2025. So I don't know if he goes back to the barn or wherever he was the last time he left the Packers. And maybe, I think if he did get the Bears job or the Saints job, and it sounds like he's not going to get it, I don't blame him taking a year off.
No, I don't blame him either. I mean, you want to get in a situation that you think you can, do something. How much mutual respect does he have? I mean, that's what I don't know. I mean, what places were like, man, we really need to get Mike McCarthy?
Well, the Bears were a possibility, but I think when Ben Johnson's on the board, you feel like you don't have a chance to get another job until he's gone.
Right.
Because the Raiders wanted him, the Bears wanted him. Everybody wanted a shot at Ben Johnson except the shoddy shots who took Brian Schottenheimer. Nobody else wanted to take him, and so they ended up not. So he's sitting out as well. Big news over the night was Ravens kicker Justin Tucker accused of sexual misbehavior involving again some spa places. 6 allegations has come out. He says it's totally false, and so investigation into another football player when it comes to massage spas. And then the other thing, of course, unfortunately, the tragic news of the U.S. figure skating plane and helicopter situation. Just thoughts and prayers in that situation. Is just a terrible, terrible thing there on that. And so the other thing that was big this week, you've got Major League Baseball getting closer and closer to starting. High school stuff starting. Tomorrow is actually the first day that you can have high school baseball scrimmages, which is a good day. Most February 1st, if you're doing that, or you're trying to figure out how many layers you can keep on your body and still swing a bat or throw a baseball. But that's happening tomorrow. But Josh, big deal, opportunity. We've talked all year of complaining, at least on my end, of not being able to watch the Rangers, but that looks like that's possibly going to change.
Well, it's definitely going to change. They have their own Ranger Sports Network now. You can download an app and pay, I think it was $100, and watch every game. But they're also on, well, and they probably won't really change all that much around here. I don't know if it's going to be on anything other than what they announced was DirecTV, D-Stream, AT&T.
Keep going. I need to hear Hulu.
Yeah, no Hulu. You'll have to go Victory Plus and pay $100.
Or just go to Mulligan's.
I
mean,
but
everybody can just go to Mulligan's.
And they're also going back to the old school thing they used to do, where all the Friday home games.
Somebody's at the door. What is it? Kyle, there's a West Coast swing game that starts at 10.
Yeah.
Can I come in?
Yeah. So the Friday home games will be over the air like they used to be several years ago.
Maybe we can tell Kyle, like, hey, we're gonna need you to open early some of these days.
Hey, so Josh, I noticed the team of the Ranger Network, Emily Jones, of course, back again.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis Andrus coming on board. Is Mark McLemore? Does that mean Max gone?
Yeah, he's not on the list. I mean, that's the Dave Raymond is back as the head, like TV guy with Mike Bassick and David Murphy, that's pretty much what they were doing last year. But the pregame analyst doesn't include Mark McLemore. There's
I thought Mac was kind of a staple.
Yeah, well,
sometimes staples get removed from paper.
And they got a new team, so we'll see. But I think that Elvis Andrus obviously has high regard in the Rangers organization, and just recently retired, and now he's going to be an analyst. He's obviously a fun-loving guy. I don't know how he'll be on TV, but I'm looking forward to finding out.
So pay $100 that covers you for the year.
Yes.
I guess that's not bad. I mean,
It's the going rate. I mean, if you get ESPN Plus or whatever, that's like $100.
But that's straight Ranger rate. I mean, what else comes with that Ranger? Or is it just I'm paying $100? That's basically a season ticket for the air, watching baseball, or will there be shows at 10 o'clock during the day that I want to watch?
I haven't found out what else is going into the Ranger Sports Network, because that's their thing. They've made their own network. Taking taking the reins and not waiting for someone else to pick it up, and now they're negotiating the contracts of where it's going to be and things like that. So, and I guess understandably, they're on all the cable networks that are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Some of those extend into this area also. And there's, the figuring out what all else goes with that, because if you're going to have a channel, there's got to be something else, I would think.
Surely.
And you could be creative enough. I mean, the Longhorn Network did it. The SEC Network does. I mean, even with football over, they're talking basketball, they're talking something. So anyway, it's a big deal. The Rangers are going to be able to be watched. We'll be collecting money for me to get that at the house so we can, watch it.
I mean, maybe they call the Hodge Pack to fill in a little bit.
Hey, there you go.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Just trade his subscription.
Yeah, Josh would need a heart attack in AED or would have a heart attack AED if they said, Josh, would you come on and talk Rangers? What? I'll be back. Anyway, so Rangers able to watch. Coaching hires are done, and the Super Bowl is set. We appreciate Lawrence Hall Chevrolet and all that they do. Lawrence Hall Headline Report. Coaches are set. Super Bowl is set, and when we come back, we'll talk about how we got there, and is the fatigue real, and should hatred be pointed somewhere else?
Is it working now?
Yeah, you are not on, but you could hear, but it was probably picking up from that.
This is not a bad idea. We should look at the Rangers schedule, and if there is a weekend 10 o'clock, that could be fun. I bet Colin would open early for us. Just open the door. They're already there.
Well, I was talking. It'd be a West Coast at night.
Oh yeah, true.
No, they won't.
Will they ever play that early?
No.
So it would be always. Yeah. I mean, they'll.
There might be an 11 o'clock start on
Okay.
a road game on the East Coast.
Yeah. So.
My audio is really bad way.
I totally missed the slurp. I never
It was
heard.
bad.
I never heard you
slur. That was bad.
Well, because it was right in the mic and in my headphones, that's why you didn't hear it.
Yeah, I didn't hear it at all, and I was like, "What just happened?"
this.
I'm excited. They're going to be on the show next week. That's fun.
And it's fitting because he's the Super Bowl champion too.
Yeah, that's cool. That's going to be great. Way to lock that down.
I just texted Sam Ferguson and
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, I'm going to be like leaving. By the time I get to my car and get over there, it takes me a good 17-ish minutes.
well, like I said,
I'll just kind of see, but if, yeah, when I can jet.
It takes me like 5 minutes.
But because we have a conference that starts at 9. It's like kind of like LeaderCast. Remember LeaderCast? It's called Live to Lead, and it starts at 9. So I need to be there by 8:45.
So you get a motivational speaker all day?
Yes, I need all the motivation.
who's the motivation?
I don't know. There's like several. I don't know. It's just like, hey, who wants to go to this? We're going to this. Sign up. So we got a table.
That's what my
I think-
dilemma was on Wednesday, was just a motivational speaker.
Oh, really? I think it's gonna be good. Usually those are pretty good. Was yours good?
Mhm.
Do you feel motivated?
No.
Awesome.
I'm a anti-motivational speaker.
Unless it's Chris Farley.
And also talking
Yes.
about your weight loss journey.
Yes. I typically am
We can
like,
talk about our resolutions and Josh's weight loss journey. We're through January.
Well, I mean, when you do life together, there's a chance that weight can fly off.
Yes, yes, yes. Do you enjoy doing life with us?
no.
No.
The stereotypical like those are the stereotypical like non-denominational church minister words. Must want to strangle
How
somebody.
are Josh and I even friends? He's like, we're not. We use friend very loosely. It's just so funny. You just don't like any of the trendy words, phrases.
Mm-mm. That's because they're always way overdone.
I can agree with that.
People,
We are back, and Josh will help you get those splinters out if you're riding the pine. Now we have two more teams that the internet. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack. The internet always wins. Did y'all see the different memes of like it was Tom Brady making this look of like, and it said what the Bears looking and seeing that the Lions were joining them in Cancun. And Tom Brady's kind of making a face like, hey, guys, welcome to the party.
Yeah.
Well, we have two more that have now joined the Cancun party, the Washington Commanders and the Buffalo Bills. We'll start off by talking about the NFC championship. Again, full of the NFC East. No Cowboys, no Giants, no surprise. But the Eagles dominate 55-23 over the Washington Commanders. And I think it was one of those where, Josh was real big on the pumpkin watch for Sam Darnold. I think this was the same type of pumpkin watch, Cinderella story watch of Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. And maybe just or did we hit the ceiling? Is this what we could do? Because, again, the AFC game, fantastic. The NFC East, the NFC Championship game, not so much. Was this a combination of how good the Eagles are? Was this a combination, or was it that the Commanders finally kind of hit the wall?
well, I mean, we had talked about the Commanders specifically because they started out very, very hot this season, kind of cooled down a little bit and kind of looked like, okay, it's still a rookie quarterback, and he does look good, and I think that he is good, and I think that that's part of a change that I'm not looking forward to, because I was fine with the Redskins just hanging out with the Giants most of the time, other than the Giants from 2 random years that they just get it together and win a Super Bowl. They were not, it's been basically the Redskins have just been not very relevant since they've changed their name from the Redskins. So the turn of events with Daniels coming in, I think they are now super relevant, and I think they're going to be poised to just do the same thing again next year and try to build on it. And the Eagles were just the better team. I never doubted that at all.
Yeah, the Commanders are definitely a threat to Dallas, whereas, like you said, Josh, we really didn't have to worry about them so much. And now I'm like, awesome, another team that's probably going to beat the crap out of us. So that's fun. But yeah, I mean, the Eagles are just really, really good. I don't know that necessarily the Commanders hit a wall. They just didn't play as well. I mean, there were just several holes in their strategy, and the Eagles just completely dominated.
Well, the holes were the reason that they beat the Lions is they won the turnover battle.
Yeah, they didn't turn the ball over.
Right.
And the reason they lost to the Eagles is they turned the ball over on repeat. And again, I think the difference maker is, of course, you saw the first play of the game, Saquon to the house.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jalen Hurts probably threw the ball as good as he's played all year long and was mobile with his legs. And so they were really, I mean, Philadelphia right now, and the field goal that Elliott missed was not a short one. So, but when you look at all three phases, as everybody always talks about, offensively, about as talented as you get. I mean, if you were to have a fantasy football draft and pick a team, and that was where you would get your points, and your points came from your quarterback is Jalen Hurts, your running back, obviously, who I think if you could vote today, and I know the voting is going to go to either Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. To me, the most valuable player in the league this year has been Saquon Barkley.
I don't disagree with that at all.
And so if he's your running back, and then you've got A.J. Brown, and then you make Devontae Smith, your other receiver, and Dallas Goedert has been a very effective tight end. There's your offensive part of of your fantasy football team. And then you add Jalen Carter, and their defense is just really, really good. So I do agree with you, Misty, in the fact that I don't think they hit the wall that Philadelphia is who people thought they could be. And they took out that Nick Sirianni, because you think last year they fell off the cliff. Then there were talks of they probably need to get rid of Sirianni, start over. He and Jalen Hurts don't jive, but they hired two coordinators. And they'll tell you, if you listen to the radio and you listen to things like that, Sirianni he's the head coach. He's letting his coordinators do their thing. And as a result, they're in the Super Bowl again for the second time in 3 years. So they're just really good. But here's my bold statement for 2025. And I hope I'm right, and I think you will too. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders will end up being Ryan Tannehill and Blake Bortles, Jags, Titans, in that this is it. And the struggle of the sophomore season, the struggle of figuring him out, the struggle of, and can Dan Quinn, because Dan Quinn's another one, went to his wall was the Super Bowl, couldn't finish it, and then kind of started coming back down like a balloon. That's my bold prediction. Jot it down, January 31st, Nolan Ryan's birthday, boom, 2025. Eagles, Cowboys, first and second in the division. Commanders finish third.
Not a chance.
Yeah, I disagree.
And you will deny you said this three times. By,
we can remember Nolan Ryan's birthday. We got this.
Did you know it was Nolan Ryan's birthday today?
No, I did not. I should have, but it should be a holiday.
But you want that? Do you want me to be right?
Oh, I want you to be right, but you're not. And the thing is like, and I don't know what's necessarily gonna happen. Obviously, it takes more than just a quarterback. But Blake Bortles, are you kidding me? Like Daniels is so much better than Blake Bortles.
He is better than both of them. He is better than Ryan Tannehill. He's better than Blake Bortles. What I am comparing them to is Ryan Tannehill led the Titans to the AFC Championship. Blake Bortles led the Jags to the AFC Championship. But then it was it. It didn't happen.
Well, I know, but that's why I'm saying that you're wrong, because Daniels is good. And then, perfectly honest, Cliff Kingsbury as a coordinator is good. Like, I know that his career path has been funny, but I totally believe that coaches should have their roles, and if they're put in those roles, like they can have success as a coordinator or as a position coach that maybe they can't translate to that next step up. But and they're in a situation there where Dan Quinn lets him do his thing. He's not micromanaged. Dan Quinn is hands off on the offense, and they put things in, and like it or not, like if you look at that resume that why did I just forget his name?
Dan Quinn?
No,
Kingsbury?
Kingsbury. Yes. Wow. Too much allergy medicine. But if you look at that resume for Kingsbury, and yeah, there's circumstances that people may argue, but he has very good success with quarterbacks.
Oh, no doubt. And ironic, even with his little stint with USC, Caleb Williams probably did fine. I mean, not as great, but yeah, if you look at the people that he has coached, from Manziel to Keenum to Baker, which was a bit of a cup of coffee, then he left. Obviously, a guy that's playing in the Super Bowl next week that's done okay.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes, and now with Jaden Daniels, which again, I understand why you picked Ben Johnson over Cliff, because Cliff didn't have the success at Arizona that might have warranted, hey, let's hire him. I understand that. But the other reason was, the reason you were able to go interview was because his quarterback beat you and was able to advance and move on. But I agree. Cliff's done a really good job, and I think he'll be one that will get another chance. If y'all are right and he has that success next year with Jaden Daniel and the Commanders have another good year, Cliff Kingsbury will be a head coach in the NFL again.
Yeah, I could agree, get on board with that. But yeah, you're definitely going to be wrong. So this is going to be really fun whenever we get to bring this back up.
I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I hope I'm right. I hope
You
I am
are
right.
going to be wrong.
No, I mean,
appreciate
I hope y'all are wrong, and I hope that I will be right in all those things. I will tell you, one of the things I did like about this season with the Commanders is, and I put this, I don't know why I might have said in our group text, was Zach Ertz had like a fountain of youth resurgence. You know, he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles and had a great career, and he was one of those tight ends you would pick in your NFL draft, in your fantasy draft, and then, you know, is married to the soccer player and all those things, and then went, had a cup of coffee, I think, like at Arizona, but then came back to with, I guess, who, you know, might have played with Cliff at the Commanders, and had a really good year, and kind of became the go-to guy for Jaden Daniels. So we'll see if they keep him on board. But the NFC is set with the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl.
Boo.
Boo. But even more boo. Is there more boo coming from Misty for the team they're going to be playing? We'll be back right after this.
Ooh, I hate the Eagles. Poor Joshy.
So, job basketball last night? I couldn't tell, you posted a picture and I didn't know it.
No, that was just our, for the season. Like, our basketball pictures for the season that Cody did. We play on Saturdays.
I thought so.
Yeah, tomorrow we play 11. I think I'm trying to think. I think we only have a couple more weeks.
When you order your pet prescription from Chewy Pharmacy, our licensed pharmacist inspects it to ensure it's safe for your pet and to ensure it gets down.
We need to find one of these people that would come in and interview one day.
Yeah, I'm thinking the guy that always waves at us. He's like kind of shorter and a little bit like bald, like not like full bald, but. don't get sick. I'm gonna go with the Lysol. Oh, Josh. It's just his allergies, I think.
You know this song?
This sounds like kind of.
It's called You May Be Right, I May Be Crazy. We're gonna come back to it.
Perfect.
Okay.
We're just having a little like jam sesh.
Do you know the song by? Do you know the song by
How much
Billy
longer do we
Joel?
have?
Yeah,
I cherish his entire game.
2 minutes.
Okay. Oh, I'm good.
You May Be Right by Billy Joel. We're gonna come back to that. Warren County, Mr. Burson, Billy, Clay.
First really right. I mean, my allergies are just awful.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with that.
You just never have had any issue with it?
No. No, I'm pretty.
Paper towel.
I just told you that.
Oh, I didn't hear
I walked out there and said, we're out of paper towels. You don't listen.
I heard you.
I didn't hear you slur. I didn't hear you say that. Yeah, I'm thinking this guy that's about to make the round, the shorter one. Because he's always like waving at us.
Maybe just wait at me on that.
Yeah, maybe they would like come in.
Yes, that is a risk that I don't know that I'm willing to take.
Well, I think we ask in a commercial break.
You have no idea what's in there.
True, what if they're just like, start going off? We don't have a dump button.
You don't.
Well, based on what Josh and Misty said earlier, you may be right, I may be crazy with the statement today, Junior. The statement that I came out with about Jaden Daniel and the Washington Commanders being this year's, next year's Ryan Tannehill-led Titans, Blake Bortles-led Jaguars. We'll see if I am right or wrong, and we'll remember that. Again, knowing Ryan today, 78 years old, should be a great way to remember the statement made by Hodge.
They'll deny it anyway.
Even if I do deny it, will you think you will let
We'll
me?
post it. We will find
Yeah.
this clip and post it.
But
Because
seriously,
all of the numerous times Hodge has been wrong, he
when?
just acts like he never said it.
We will.
Exactly. When?
No, I mean, point them out.
Point proven.
No, I mean, I'm not saying you're not right or wrong or indifferent, but I'm saying when was I wrong?
Why do I just keep thinking A&M in my head
Wow.
with this conversation?
Right. There's a
7 + 3 still equals 10. I don't care what you say.
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, thank you. All right,
Math.
So, yeah, math. Hey, math is hard for some people.
True.
So we talked about the NFC. The NFC have said the Washington Commanders are now joining the other folks at Cancun, and the Philadelphia Eagles are heading to New Orleans next week to try to stop history and prevent the Chiefs from winning 3 in a row But last week, Bills Mafia, Josh, Misty, real quick before we dive into it, how you doing?
Oh, that was rough. Josh's face went like on the sideline, and he just looked so deflated. Man, I'm not gonna lie, like that was tough to watch.
It was it's not surprising. Honestly, we knew that it
Right.
would be a down to the wire type of game, and hoped that it would be because they've had a lot of just very epic battles. It was a little different, obviously, than in the fact that it was not terribly high scoring, but still came down to a throw needed to be made. The blitz that the Chiefs ran on that last play, like, really worked as perfectly as you could draw it up. It was the nickel back or dime back, whichever one it was, that blitz came in completely unpicked up. And even with all of that, in what looked like a goofy throw attempt, hit the receiver in the hands.
I agree.
Gosh, yes.
The Kincaid drop wasn't as noticeable in real time.
Because it looked like he was just chunked
Right.
it, but
But it
no,
almost
it
looked
hit somebody in
It
the
was, it was
hands.
Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
looked at first, it looked like just a desperation and I'm trying to hurry back and come catch it. And then you look,
It was
and
catchable.
unfortunately, it wasn't as Mark Andrews droppish, but it was very much there to be made. And I don't know if Kansas City people donated to Kincaid Foundation, but it was there. I mean, it was at first I was like, yeah, well, he just threw it away, and all of a sudden here comes this white jersey with a chance to catch it. And the other thing that's crazy is you look, Josh Allen did this. It's not like, and I know there's a lot of controversy on the spot of the 4th and 1.
That looks like a first down.
And the catch, or where we talked about it in our group, the incomplete pass that we thought, but that they gave it to him on the 2-yard line.
I thought there was more of
Something
it.
like that.
I thought it was the one that Xavier Worthy, they said he caught.
Yes.
I thought that had a better chance to either be in an interception.
That was an interception or an incompletion.
Or an incomplete
The ball
pass.
touched the ground
Yes.
while in the defender's hands, and then somehow ended up in the offensive player's hands, and they gave him a catch.
I thought that was as big of a not great call as the spot. And then when the spot was called short by literally Josh being the guy on the far sideline, me being the guy coming into the near sideline, that's about how far off they were. I know those that are not, I know those that are listening, but on our watching area, that like where we're sitting, that's basically the opposite of how far off they were when the two sideline judges came in. That wasn't great.
And the far side guy came in, obviously spotting it a first down, looked like he was ready to go first down with it. The other guy from the near side started a little out there, and if you watch the replay, moves back in, and maybe he's seeing the ball, but his original spot was farther up the field, and he adjusted it as he got closer. And then when you look, like, they go to replay, and it still looked like he got the first down, and they're like, nope, short. Well, that's where conspiracy theorists like to get all like,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, have y'all seen like the rumors that Tom Brady came out and said that the owner of the Chiefs, the wife had like paid millions of dollars to the officiating crew? There's like all these things coming out.
And I don't think that
It's a whole.
I don't think
mess.
that's true. I mean, I think if that's the case, then the NFL will have a lot more problems than if fixed games start coming in and that sorts of thing.
Here's the
you'll
thing.
have more issues.
I don't know that I buy that at all, but it happened in the NBA.
Right.
People were talking about, oh, this is fixed, and then nope, everything's on the up and up, and then we found out that there were refs that were taking
and a lot of spiraling. They've still made money, but they're trying to figure out. Their commissioner came out this week trying to shorten the games so it's more entertaining at home, because their viewership, those things that are coming those things happening outside of the league are hurting. But back to this game, the thing about it is Josh had another chance.
Yeah.
He had a chance to be the hero. Down 3, plenty of time to go be the guy. And the other hard part about this game is he got beat. He didn't lose it. In that, he had 3 fumbles, but he didn't lose them. He recovered all of them. They didn't have any turnovers, and still the Chiefs found a way to, like Ric Flair says, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And they still can't do it. And I don't know what they do differently. Yes, each person's getting older, but so is the Buffalo team. How that changes and how do you get over that hump and beat the Chiefs? And Mahomes had a great game. You know, sometimes, you know, last
he did.
I mean, in the Super Bowl, that the last time these two teams played, people will tell you Jalen Hurts outplayed Mahomes, and they just the Chiefs found a way to get it done. Mahomes had a fantastic game last week, and what I'm liking about it, and this is what I want to pose to y'all, is the hate meter. You struggle with the hate meter with the Eagles being in it, the fatigue of the Chiefs. And I'm putting this out. Is pointing dislike, frustration, hate, whatever word you want, toward Mahomes and the Chiefs, is it rightly so? Or should the acceptance of what's taking place culturally wise, team wise, what they develop should be appreciated more than the hatred and frustration, whatever word you want to put, of them continuing to win?
Yeah, I don't hate the Chiefs. I don't hate that they have success at all. I just really wanted the Bills to get the monkey off their back. And I've been wanting that for a few years. So I am impressed with what Kansas City has done. And if they can go in and do the three-peat and, you know, make history, hats off to you. I mean, like you said, you're the man right now. So go get it. It's just like when Tom Brady was doing his thing. I mean, a lot of people hated him. I'm not there yet. But yeah, when they're playing against the Bills and Josh Allen, which is one of my favorite players to watch, it is a little disheartening, but I wouldn't say that I'm like frustrated. I mean, they're the better team.
But yours is toward wanting your team.
Yeah, like they're the better team. They're the better team.
Yours was wanting your team to win, not the Chiefs, not to move on.
Sure, but go make history. Do your thing. You're the better team. You deserve to be there.
If you don't hate a dynasty that's not your team, you have misplaced your fanmanship.
And mine is displaced because I haven't been with the Cowboys, so maybe that's why I'm here right now.
I
don't
hate
care.
every single dynasty, every single good run that some other team goes on. I hate it with the passion.
Hate or jealous?
No, hate. Anger. Like, I don't like dynasties. I don't like them at all. If it was my team, I would love it. And I can be completely hypocritical. If it's your team, I hate it and I want you to lose. I'm tired of hearing about it. It's like, it's dumb to me. I hate bandwagon fans, probably more than anything else other than, I guess, direct blasphemy of Jesus Christ. Like, that is the end of it for me. I hate it. Bandwagon fans especially.
I am not a fan. I get, well, I'm not.
Are we bandwagon fans of the Bills?
No.
I mean,
I own no Bills merchandise.
Same. It's been years.
Your
It's
son
been
has a
like
helmet.
3 years that we've been on the Bills.
He's a Josh Allen fan. I don't own it.
I mean, I would
He
never pass
has a
that.
Josh Allen jersey and a helmet, yes.
Yeah, keep going. I don't know anything, Bill.
But
I got
hey,
a helmet, I got a
it's not like
jersey.
year one.
Yeah.
It's not like we just jumped on this
yeah.
train. So, okay, I just had to clarify.
But you did jump on it. Anyway, the reason that I'm impressed with what they're doing, and I guess if it comes to fan, not necessarily a fan, I will want them to win over the Eagles next week. Because again, the other team that could win will win their second Super Bowl in almost your kid's lifetime.
Oh no, I hate the Eagles. It is like the most disappointing possible outcome for a Super Bowl that I could even imagine.
Is next week.
Yes.
All right, so I've got a minute. Let me tell you why I enjoy or respect what the Chiefs are doing. Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown, Samir Pirine, DeAndre Hopkins. Kareem Hunt's a little different because he was there with them before. Those guys went to there to do what they're doing next week. They know if they go to Kansas City, they're going to have a chance to play the last game of the year. There's not that many destinations in the NFL where you can go do that like you used to when you could go to the Patriots 5, 10, 20 years ago in that span. So that's why I don't point frustration, dislike, hatred, if you will, to what the Chiefs are doing. And mine is probably more, why can we not create that? And we're going to talk about part of that at the 8 o'clock hour on why Jerry didn't get the job done in his 30-plus years of owning the team like they could be doing here.
Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying at all in having any of that go towards like the players, the organization, anything like that. Obviously, you build a culture, and the Yankees used to do this, and I hated it then too, where you do get those guys that have been around for a while that are like, I want to go try to win a ring, and I'll take a little less money. I'll sacrifice some playing time to go here versus go over there where I could be on the field more, get paid more, whatever, but have less of a chance to go and win a Super Bowl. I do not disrespect what they've got going on, not in the least. And I think that Patrick Mahomes is very good. And if it weren't for and really, as I said, it's bandwagon fans. It's media overdone. It's why do we have to constantly see Taylor Swift sitting in the booth? All of that stuff just grinds on me, and that makes me not enjoy watching good football.
Yeah. The old extracurriculars are getting to Josh, but what's good is he's going to probably get frustrated because Misty will probably scare him in a minute with the question. We'll be back right after this. Don't be Josh.
I haven't peed my crazy.
What?
Been peeing my crazy, but that is my second energy drink.
Energy.
So you're having to go back to the well, huh? Wow.
That's a funny sound.
Yeah. It's a lot of pee.
I eventually came around on Tom Brady, though.
I'll tell you the one that I came around on, but it was because when he went to Cleveland and won the championship was LeBron. I was never a LeBron. Well, let me rephrase that.
He's someone I don't like for his off the court stuff as much as, that taking my talents to South Beach thing just like
right,
me.
And I hated it. The best part about it was when he lost to the Mavs. But what I enjoyed about and respected about LeBron is when he did go back to Cleveland and win that championship. To me, that was the only championship he actually won.
Yeah, where he wasn't on a super team.
You made a good point about the dynasties. Maybe it's just because I'm like, our team sucks, that I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I just don't care about Dallas right now.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I'm just like, cool, go get a three-peat. Like, I literally don't care.
But that's my whole point is,
But
there's
like,
no reason, and he says it in that press conference. He says, I can't tell you what brought Jimmy Johnson here. Yeah, it did. It was your friendship. You wanted to change from Tom Landry, so you brought Jimmy Johnson. Then he goes, I don't want to talk about the psychological things on what brought Barry Switzer here. Barry Switzer had to come here because you and Jimmy couldn't jive.
right.
There was no reason you and Jerry and Jimmy and Jerry could not have been Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick.
Yes.
Oh, totally agree.
And then he said
They could have gone. They were a dynasty. They won 3 and 4 years, but they could have kept that going for another 2 to 3 years with the talent that was on the field. no problem.
And yes, when free agency and the salary cap came in, you had to start being more creative and smarter.
But even after Jimmy left, they still had Troy, they still had Urban, they still had Smith, they still had a killer offensive line.
And not to mention a good defense.
Yeah. But yeah, that's and I don't understand why I really can't understand why anybody would cheer for a dynasty for a team that's not their team. It baffles my mind.
But and why could you not be doing? And again, I keep referencing that press conference. He says other people have this or that. Yeah, you have money, but you're this great businessman. Why can you not do what the Chiefs do?
His ego won't let him. His ego won't let him.
There's been a total of 9 head coaches. 9 in the history of this franchise.
All when he was the owner.
Well, I guess you count, he fired Landry.
Yeah.
But he's hired 8. He's had 8 head coaches under his tenure, because I'm not counting Tom Landry. He's had 8. And he's had 2 Hall of Famers in Jimmy Johnson and Bill Parcells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just... And then you got Stephen Jones, who's saying stuff like, now I know why Tom Landry got put on the big screen at AT&T, is because Stephen Jones says the statement that, Mike's a good coach, winningest coach in franchise history. No, he's not. Tom Landry is. And you know who's second? Jason Garrett.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was there for 10 years.
That was a dumb statement, right? Like, winningest coach in franchise history. Just like, what?
We are bringing the action to you here in hour number 1 as we're rocking and rolling. Don't forget, at the top of the hour, we'll be talking again. The Dallas Cowboys hired their 9th head coach in franchise history. 8 since Jerry's taken over. I'll figure out the issue there. And then we'll have the Abilene Flying Bison joining us, John Stark, general manager, and Kyle Dyson, the new manager for the Flying Bisons. They get ready for
Dyson Bison.
Dyson Bison, yeah, it's a good marketing tool. But now it is time we open up Misty's Bag, brought to you by Mulligans.
So I don't know if y'all saw this, but there's some super exciting news, and I teased this a week or 2 ago. But what's funny is it was not about this, because there's more exciting news to come.
Still yet to come?
I know, it's so exciting. So, did y'all see that Mulligans is hosting their first of many disc golf tournaments? So this is happening this Sunday. They're hosting their first tournament. So they have designed a super tough course, and they're very excited about it. All the details are on their Facebook page, which is Mulligans Sports Bar, Grill, and Golf is where you can find that. I also want to just shout out Jack King. This week has been tough for the Mulligan staff as they just passed the 2-year anniversary of Jack passing. So our thoughts and prayers are with the Mulligan staff and the King family as they just remember Jack more this week. And so just exciting stuff happening at Mulligan's. And of course, they always have, their Jindo, they've got their karaoke, just all the things, wings, BOGO on Wednesdays. So they're always doing super fun stuff. So get on out to 1166 Ben Ritchie Drive. And it's going to be a great weekend to be at Mulligan's because I think we're going to have some decent weather this weekend. So
supposed to be warm.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit windy for throwing a disc.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, hopefully that settles for their first.
Hey, the disc's got to do what golfers have to do.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay.
I wouldn't know about really throwing that. I don't know that I could throw a golf disc.
I should try it. I might be better at that than actually swinging a club.
It's possible.
I'm willing to give it a shot. All right, so I was actually thinking about this subject, and I was like, I wonder if this is in the book for the Got Your Answers by Mike Greenberg, and it is in the book. So I'm going to ask this question to y'all. What are the top 10 MVP snubs of all time? You don't necessarily have to know the year, but let's talk about MVP snubs. Any sport, whatever you want. Obviously, I've got Greenie's top 10 here. So what
This-
comes to
I
mind?
doubt this makes it, but I think, and I don't know if this would count, and you can tell me if this is one of the type of answers. One of the things I think was a snub, but I understand why he didn't get it. But in the first Super Bowl that Peyton Manning won with the Colts, I don't think he had the best game in that. I thought Dominic Rhodes should have been the MVP of that. That's probably not going to be in there.
It's not, but great. Yeah, just.
I think Dominic Rhodes should have been the Super Bowl MVP. That would have changed a lot of things. He still had a decent career in the league. And I know there's no way that Peyton's not getting that in the first Super Bowl he wins. But Dominic Rhodes would have
He
been.
did have a very good game. Yeah.
That'd be mine.
Well, the one that comes to my mind, and it was actually one that I was glad that it happened, but it probably shouldn't have, and I don't know if it would make the list, but it was a few years ago. Can't remember exactly how long ago, but recently, Mike Trout won the MVP of the American League, and it quite honestly should have been Alex Bregman, and I don't like that. I'm glad that he didn't get it actually, because I don't like the Astros being good.
Right.
But
Notable, also not in the
No.
top 10, but
I
definitely.
also think that one is going to happen next week, and whenever they do the NFL awards for this year, it's going to go to Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, and I think it should go to Saquon Barkley this year. But it's not the most valuable player. It's normally the most valuable quarterback, and that's why Saquon will not get it this year.
Do you have, real quick, Josh or Lamar in that? Just a quick answer.
Well, the problem, one of the things, the big struggle I have is that vote was submitted before the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those votes need to hold on until playoffs happen, because to me, your value is going to be the most exposed if you are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen unfortunately came up short against the working on being the greatest of all time, the GOAT in waiting, if you will, or the GOAT in the progress. Lamar Jackson, one of the reasons, yes, you can blame a lot on Mark Andrews, but Lamar Jackson also had a huge fumble and a huge interception in that divisional game. And so I'm leaning toward, and maybe this is one of those, Lamar's won it twice. I would give it to Josh Allen. He advanced farther in the playoffs, which I know the vote's already been submitted. But the year that Josh has had, he changed and stopped turning the ball over. You know, last year he was an interception machine. It was a race between he and Dak on who was throwing the most. And so I would give it to Josh Allen is who I would. And I know y'all being biased Bill fans, not necessarily complete bandwagoners, but give it to Josh Allen as
Oh,
well.
yeah, 100%. My vote would go to.
Give me an
Josh.
example of the book from Greeny and Himbo.
well, there's probably like I'm just trying to think, because I knew there's like this is a hard question to answer, because they'll go way more into sports that I don't really know about, like hockey and such.
Yeah, there is.
And I know
some
nothing about
hockey.
hockey. Probably Karl Malone was snubbed. I don't know if he's on the list.
He is not.
Let's see.
There was probably a year Jordan should have got it. Knowing Greeny,
Yes.
he covered the Bulls. He was in Chicago, went to Northwestern. There's a year where somebody got it that Jordan didn't get
Yeah,
it.
and that was 96, 97. Michael Jordan is number 5 on this list.
Who got it over him? Does it say who they didn't?
No, it doesn't say.
So 96, 97, I don't
Who would that
keep-
have been?
y'all keep talking,
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
So do y'all want to just tell y'all?
Yes, 'cause
Okay.
we're floundering.
Okay. So number 1 on the list is Wilt Chamberlain. That was 61-62. And it's just some incredible stats.
All right, so in 96, 97, Karl Malone.
He did win it.
He won
Won
it
it
and
over.
not Jordan.
Yeah.
Number 2, 1987 goes to Jerry Rice. 2000 year was Pedro Martinez.
Yeah, pitchers have a hard time winning MVP, but yes, I would agree that there are definitely times that they should.
Dwight Gooden,
Same.
and then Michael
But
Jordan, of course.
1986,
Close, 85.
85.
Michael Jordan, of course, number 5. Number 6 goes to 1992 Ted Williams. Well before our time. 2006 Martin Brodeur. How do you say? That's the goalie, the hockey goalie?
Oh.
He was like one of the best back in the day. Willie Mays, 1962, and then Kobe Bryant, 05, 06. Some other notable ones that I looked up that weren't on here was Shaq for 2000, 2001. Allen Iverson won the MVP that year. And then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 1972. The MVP winner that year was Dave Cowens, I don't know. Charles Barkley was snubbed, 1989. I mean, there's a ton. LeBron James, 2010, 2011. Chris Paul, he kind of had saying that he thought he should have beat Kobe that year.
I think the biggest thing about the MVP is sometimes it does not go to the most valuable player. And I would bet Josh, and then we'll end it with this because we need to kick off hour number 2. The year Mike Trout won it, what did the Angels finish?
Well, it's 2019, I think is what it was.
Did they make the playoffs?
They've only been in the playoffs once when Mike Trout played for them, so it could have been that year. But
that's my other point.
Yeah.
You know, half the time it's not people that,
yeah.
you know, Mike Trout's one of those I don't think should have been. I don't know,
Well, no, and the thing is, it's like I think a lot of times it does go to just like general recognition. Mike Trout had a good season, but when you look at WAR, Alex Bregman had one whole WAR higher than him and finished second in the MVP. And even Marcus Semien, who was playing for the Oakland Athletics at the time, had more WAR than Mike Trout. But Trout has that name recognition. He's a multiple MVP winner, and I think that has a lot to do with it also.
What's crazy about going back to Wilt Chamberlain, the year that he got snubbed.
Pause that real quick. Misty will pause for station identification.
So for the year that Wilt Chamberlain got snubbed was the year that he scored 100 points at Hershey, Pennsylvania. He averaged 50.4 points and 25.7 rebounds per game and had 4,029 points that he scored that year. The only time any player eclipsed the 4,000 point mark. The closest ever was Michael Jordan, who scored 3,041 in 86. So pretty crazy that Bill Russell was ahead of him that year.
Yeah, and again, each year, sometimes, and again, like I said, I think we may see it next week. Will they give it to Josh? Now, if they were to give it to Josh, if they were to give it to Lamar Jackson over Josh Allen, I don't think it's necessarily a snub because both of them be worth it. But again, I do think Saquon Barkley should be the MVP, and it's not going to happen. The MVP this week was the media and the internet because, again, a press conference took place. There is a new sheriff in town for the Dallas Cowboys. Let me rephrase that. There will always be the same sheriff. His name is Jerry. But there is a new deputy, and his name is Shoddy. And we'll come back in Shoddy in a few minutes.
In the country, my name is John Keaty. I am a resident at Pittsfield.
I'm hoping now that Greeny is no longer going to be doing the Greeny show on radio, that we can get him on again for that book.
Oh, yeah. Well, we hadn't done it in a while, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, maybe something like that's in there, but yeah. Towards the I think that was like number 96 or whatever, towards the back. But as I started looking into other people that had gotten snubbed, I was like, that's really interesting. And LeBron was one of them. Derek Rose, I think that year. I don't know. There
That
was
was interesting that they're retiring.
some notable people that I had really forgotten about. And when you've won a few, and then here's somebody that's never won two, I think that does play a
another
role.
reason why.
It plays a part, I think.
But it's another reason why I think, go ahead, David.
What is my problem?
347?
This is literally the fourth time I peed.
I
a
don't mean
lot of
I don't
problems.
mean this, but are you 47? You can take this segment, but you're 47. Where do y'all hoop it up tomorrow?
Tuscola.
So bounce back from your loss? Still losing?
I somehow assembled the worst basketball team that you could possibly assemble. Got a bunch of clowns that won't listen.
Maybe their parents are listening.
If you're listening, tell your kid they're a clown.
Maybe start listening.
It is frustrating. It's made me rethink my life decisions.
Want to go back into coaching full time?
Yeah.
All right, Missy, I'm going to go. Do I have a chance? Do you need to go again?
I guess it's the two energy drinks. I mean, I always go a lot, but
Well, and your calisthenics maybe.
I'm trying to dry my hands. I have never done disc golf, but that could be fun. Have you ever done that?
I literally one time like
Was it fun?
went with some people at the park over there on like
Is
East
it
North
just
11th
like
or
a
whatever?
frisbee?
East
Are they
South 11th.
smaller?
Yeah, it's smaller.
Okay.
And I tried to throw it and I was like, I don't know how to throw this.
Yeah.
You don't throw it like a frisbee. Like,
That would be, yeah, we need to do that.
you gotta like,
Go out and.
I don't know.
Okay.
What is this going on right now?
Ooh.
It is time for hour number 2, brought to you by Coleman County State Bank. We appreciate everybody over there doing a great job. 2 locations here in Abilene, off Southwest Drive and Ambler. I appreciate them and the mortgage team on what they do. If you need a new house, give them a call. But we're glad that you're with us. Again, hour number 2, and it's time to talk the Dallas Cowboys. Again, we're proud to be part of the Dallas Cowboy Radio Network. And we will have a new coach, Mike McCarthy, we mentioned earlier in our Lawrence Hall headline report. No longer the Dallas Cowboys coach, no longer interested in coaching in 2025. But Brian Schottenheimer is 51 years old, getting a chance to be the 9th head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, his first head coaching job. We mentioned it that they made the decision at 9 o'clock that night, made it announceable, revealed that Shoddy, his name, is going to be the new head coach. And what was your thought? Let me get your reaction, and then I will talk about my frustrations in it. But what was your reaction? You were ready to move on from Mike McCarthy, Misty, when Brian Schottenheimer was announced as the guy.
One, it didn't surprise me that Jerry Jones would do something like this. But two, yeah, I'm just like, cool. Why couldn't we have, Pete Carroll, obviously, Ben Johnson were two that I was like, hey, maybe we should see if they want to come to Dallas. But no, we want to take somebody that doesn't even call plays. So I'm not surprised. This is what Jerry does. And so I wasn't surprised by it. But then part of me is like, this poor guy, like, I don't know of anybody that's excited that he's the new head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, everybody I've talked to is like, oh, awesome. We're going to have another few years to be terrible. I don't know. Maybe he will prove us all wrong and come in and, if it was me and everybody hated the decision and maybe I got promoted at work and everybody was like, oh, she wasn't the right choice. Obviously, my personality would be to prove them wrong. And so I do kind of feel bad for the guy because everybody is disappointed in this pick. So maybe he comes in and proves us all wrong. I hope he does. Not surprised, but yeah, obviously frustrated with the whole entire franchise of the Dallas Cowboys right now.
I basically agree with you. I'd heard the rumor that they were, talking to him and then interviewed him twice for like long periods of time, which also was like, he already works for you. I mean, like, what are you sitting there talking about in a interview that lasts 4 hours? That was twice. Yeah. So that was weird, confusing, but I totally expected the hire to be someone in Jerry's orbit. I thought it might be Kellen Moore.
That's what I thought.
And that was if I was to have put money on a candidate, like, you get to pick one versus the field, Kellen Moore would have been that. I put that money. I did not think they would get any of the new up and coming, the Ben Johnsons of the world. I did not expect that at all. I really, didn't expect just a established winning, coach like a Pete Carroll to be in the mix, because I don't think that those guys want to mess with the situation that's going on there. So I expected some sort of clown show maneuver, and then that's what we got. But I do agree completely, and I've thought about this. I've thought about this a lot. It's not Brian Schottenheimer's fault.
No,
it is fault.
Yeah, we need to give him a shoddy.
I expect it to be an unmitigated disaster, but it's not his fault. No. And I do feel bad for him because he's been coaching for 24 years, if I remember correctly.
25 years.
He's never been a head coach. He's been the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys for the last 2 years, but you wouldn't know that because he didn't call the plays, and he was not
a consultant at first.
He was a offensive consultant when I guess Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator. He's not been in the limelight whatsoever. He's never one of the guys are interviewing after the games and stuff like that. And then suddenly it's like, this guy, and I feel bad for him because he's put in the work. I'm not saying it's been successful work. I don't know. I don't even know about him at all, because when I was when he got promoted, I looked back through his bio and I was thinking, well, surely he's like head coach somewhere before, like college or something. Nope.
This is it. I mean, he's like Coach KP.
He's been a wide receiver coach, a quarterback coach. He's been a position coach, and then we've got his offensive coordinator NFL gig to, I guess, to be a position holder. They had to have one on the staff.
They and multiple people were saying this. he was the Ben Johnson hire type guy, young guy, a few years ago. He was the one that when a job opened, and I was just reading here, he agreed to stay on. He was part of the offensive coordinator Jets who made it to the AFC Championship, but he was in. He decided not to go interview for the Bills job that was open in 2010. So he was the guy that people thought, hey, if we want to go get him, but I guess he never found the head coaching job that he felt comfortable to go take. And to an extent, I respect that because you see a lot of guys. Steve Spagnuolo is probably a prime example. He's got a chance to win his 5th Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator. He won 2 as the Giants defense coordinator, and then he was the head coach of the Rams. After the best show on turf, and they didn't do anything, and now he still hadn't had another one, and he's an older guy. So he's waited his turn, if you will, and for him, he's waited perfectly to be the head coach of the best franchise. Let me rephrase that. Of the most recognizable franchise in the National Football League, and for the most part around the world. But I'm like y'all, during the press conference, and again, I know y'all got wives and kids and busy. It's worth the entertainment. But multiple times, Jerry says, I know this is a risky shot. I know this is one of the riskiest things you can do. And Shotty's sitting right next to him. I know this is a long shot. I know this isn't but it ain't a Hail Mary. All these things of like, I know y'all are telling me I hired the worst decision. I made a bad decision. And I'm like, but you're exactly right. I would want to be sure I proved it right and prove people wrong. Mm-hmm. For those that are older, his dad, Marty Schottenheimer, unfortunately didn't win it all, but one of the greatest coaches that didn't win it all. Like he'd be in that category along with Marv Levy and those kind of people. Was a great coach. But it's still going to come down to, and they hired Matt Eberflus as the defensive coordinator, which Matt may be those guys that he may be a Spags in that.
Maybe.
I am a coordinator. I'm not a head coach.
Yeah, well, and that's one of those things that is obviously yet to be seen, that maybe he can come back and like revive himself in that role. But he definitely proved he wasn't a head coach because he lost the room with the Bears. Right. Couldn't get along with his quarterback. Like that was not necessarily they drafted him in the first round. First pick overall, and so that may end up working out. Obviously, we don't know. But here's the bigger problem that I have, and this is why I think it would be hard to get any sort of like real like in competition for lots of jobs head coach, is the roster as constructed this year would not win. And I don't care if you had like Tom Landry and Bill Belichick both on the staff, it wouldn't win.
And that's the thing they've got to figure out. And they pointed out, Jerry in this press conference talked about we spent a lot of money on Dak, we spent a lot of money on CD, and said we took too long to hire Dak, and Dak's in the press conference, he's in the audience, and Jerry says, Dak, you want to tell him why that took so long? And he said, no, I won't. I'm not going to say anything. But my struggle is, it's not so much that you hire Brian Schottenheimer. He may be the guy that, football knowledge, and he kept using the word osmosis, because Calvin Watkins from the Dallas Morning News asked the first question. And his question to kick off the press conference was, why Brian Schottenheimer? It took Jerry Jones 8 seconds to start his answer, and 11 minutes and 25 seconds to talking, and never officially answered why he hired Brian Schottenheimer. The only thing that I might get out of what he said is he hired him because his osmosis that he got from his daddy and the other people that he coached with, and the familiarity that the players would have. That's about it. And he took 11 minutes and 25 seconds, because I timed it, to not answer a question. My other frustration is I don't like the fact that we hired the latest head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and it was treated like a Robert Lee or another small, I'm just saying the towns we're from, a Wiley, a Robert Lee, a Merkel, Jim Ned, you call it late night school board meeting that took forever, and then we announce it at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock that night because it took so long. And I know you want to make the right decision. There's a real good chance two things. This is the last coach Jerry hires unless it really hits the fan, and it's the last coach that Dak plays for in his prime. So you want to make it right. And if you truly want to win a Super Bowl one more time before you go on to be with the Lord, you better.
That you picked Shoddy? I mean, it's just wild.
But again, so that was one of my other frustrations. And then it's almost like he's having to be Luke Wilson from old school. He's going back in time when he should have been Ben Johnson 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And now he's having to go back and prove that he can still pass. He can lead an organization. And he said all the right things. He gave the right message that you want from a fan perspective. But I agree with you too. It's just like it's unfortunate this guy got the job of his life. And unless you're, and again, I don't know. I didn't watch it last night. I'm sure you were glued into the Pro Bowl Skills Challenge, and we'll be glued into
that was on TV.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl stuff. I don't know if they were at Orlando, and we can look at it during the break. But I want a fan that CeeDee Lamb wasn't in the room and Michael Parsons wasn't in the room. Maybe I'm overlooking it. Maybe it's just they were at Orlando doing festivities for the Pro Bowl. But when you're a multimillionaire, you can hire a jet, fly over there, come back, all those things. So I'm hoping that Brian Schottenheimer is the right guy. I'm hoping that Shoddy turns it around. But the only way you're going to have a Shoddy to win is you got to make sure that the groceries in the kitchen are well enough to take care of and take down the two teams. One, I don't have to worry about because they won't be in it because they're going to Blake Bortles and Ryan Tannehill.
So the Giants are going to be good? Who are the two teams?
Yeah, well, the Eagles and the Giants. You're going to have to overcome them. And in order to do that, you've got to make sure that your roster is right. Because if not, it's not going to matter who you hire. I'm rooting for Shoddy. I want him to be successful from a fan perspective.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
From a team's perspective. And it would make Jerry happier than anything to prove everybody else what they thought was a Shoddy shot worked out to be the right one he picked.
It just feels very like, here's your one chance, Fancy, don't let me down. Like if there was a lock-up song for this new coach, like I would be blaring it. But I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, but man, I feel like this is going to be a rolling dumpster fire of a season.
It'll be an off season. You'll have to add some players. They talked about free agency, and for those that listen to the press conference, and I'll leave you with this: Mike McCarthy's not the winningest coach in franchise history. That would be Tom Landry. We'll be back with some Flying Bison right after this.
Okay, I'm going to jet. Let's take a quick pic so I can get that posted. Do we want to selfie this or try to take it this way?
Well, Josh is going to go blow his honker one more time.
Because we can definitely do it.
you're bringing a camera thing you was talking.
I was like a year ago. I do have one. How do you timer? I always forget how to do this. Hi guys.
Hi, Misty, how are you?
How are y'all?
Great.
Hi, I'm Misty. Nice to meet you. I think we're just gonna selfie this. We're gonna take a cute selfie for the page so we can post y'all. I all know y'all love pictures.
And it's one of my favorite parts of coming and doing this.
I knew it was. I knew
All right,
it was.
good to see you.
I'm
How you doing, Hodge?
All right.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Josh Grant.
We'll take a quick photo. Misty's got to go to
Yeah,
a
I've
press
got it.
conference.
Here, we'll all look in.
Here, I'll slide here.
I can, there we
Good,
go.
Kyle.
Perfect.
Very good.
We'll get it posted and tagged and all the things.
Alright.
Yes, I've got to go to a little conference.
So Kyle and John, we'll go there and y'all will just kind of share that mic and then Josh and I will be in
Y'all, see you
on it.
later.
Have a good day.
Bye, y'all too.
See ya. All right, couple of notes. Is there work on that? That's in here. All right, we'll talk first year success, John.
Yes, sir.
When's the youth sports thing? Is that this weekend?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
What's
Over
the
at Dodge.
What's the official youth sports expo?
Yeah, I think so.
That's why our basketball games are in Tuscola.
So they charged me $450 to have a booth and shake hands.
Yes.
It's probably a good fundraiser.
That's where they make a.
Kyle, we'll talk about your background, just let you talk about yourself.
That's not my thing, like, I try
not to talk I'll help lead you to water on that one.
Well, let me ask you this, what do you feel comfortable talking about as the new manager of the Bison?
Anything, I mean, I can talk about baseball all day, it's just kind of very humble, I guess, about my background. I try not to get into it. It's tough for me to do that, like, I haven't.
Well, just tell us where you played, just like college baseball.
I played for a little while, I played football.
There we go. Just like a brief elevator version of your baseball journey.
You guys, resume?
And we'll talk, and either whoever wants to, John, if you want to answer most of them, that's fine. We got one more question is, and we're gonna make this our My Town segment. But kind of, when do kids start coming in? What will this roster look like? Will any roster people from last year come back for year two?
We have a handful, unfortunately, like Riley can't because we hired one of the assistants at McMurray for the staff and
This is My Town, and it is time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment, brought to you by Big Country Electric Co-op. We appreciate Big Country Electric Co-op taking care of their members each and every day, including us as KLGD in 3 different offices, Roby, Snyder, and Stanford. We appreciate them very much, Sarah, Will, and all their team out there at Big Country Electric. We highlight a local player coach program, and today we're highlighting coaches, organization, and year number 2 of the Abilene Flying Bison, successful year number 1, playing their games out of McMurray, which I'll be at McMurray tomorrow night, hosting and emceeing their baseball kickoff banquet tomorrow night. But again, joining us in studio is General Manager John Stark and their new manager, Kyle Dyson. We'll appreciate you guys coming in. John, year 2, it probably one of those, the season ends, we talk about it's coming and it's there, season ends, and how quick did year 2 get here?
I mean, it has been since we talked about this time last year, it has all been completely a blur. Every day is a new adventure, but at least this year we've done it once, so I kind of know a little bit about what to expect. I'm not making stuff up as I go quite so much anymore. But year 1 was such a great success. We led the Mid-American League in attendance. We had a 46-22 record during the regular season. And we just, and we're looking to be even better than we were last year. Our fan support was amazing. The naysayers had always said to me, well, how are you going to succeed in a ballpark that you don't own, and a ballpark that you don't sell beer in? And I said, well, we got 1,000 people in a night in a ballpark that seats 800, and saw a lot of the same faces, really connected with the community, and really did I want to give a lot of credit to our fans, because they made Walton Ritters a tough place to play in 2024, and we're looking to do the same thing in 2025.
Well, and again, you talked about it. Y'all kicked it off with the big Bison Bash, and we'll talk about that. You got the next one coming up soon. But the Bison Bash was there in the DoubleTree, and it was packed with people, and there was excitement. And the excitement of the kickoff, or first pitch, I guess, there's not a kickoff in baseball, that happened in that room literally carried over to the baseball field.
That's exactly right. And we look, we'll go ahead and, the old special teams coordinator and me will come out, and we'll call it a kickoff, because we really do look at the Bison Bash 1 as the kickoff to the 2024 season. This year we're, Bison Bash 2, doing it all again back there at the Bison Bash 2 Bombers Boogaloo. Going back into to the DoubleTree, we've got 840 RSVPs on the list. I never hope for people not to show up, but if we got that many people in that room, it's gonna be a little packed. But that it really is the kickoff for each season.
What's the date for that?
It's February the 8th. Doors will open at 3 p.m. The program will start about 4:15. Got a lot of cool things that we'll be doing there. We'll be presenting for the players that are able to come back, and our game day employees will be presenting their Mid-American League regular season championship rings. We'll be doing our uniform unveil for 2025. Not to give away anything, but we were on Thursdays last year, we were the Blue Sox. We're going to be something a little bit different this year. It has a little bit of keeping with the same theme of Abilene baseball history, but we're going to be a little bit different. And looking forward to that, looking forward to the nostalgia that will come with that. It'll be near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, even some of those that are here in this room.
All right. Well, I really did enjoy going to the games last year, and I thought the Blue Sox thing was cool. But that's something that, like you said, going to the history of baseball in Abilene, and how that history may be longer and stronger than what a bunch of people even realized, and y'all brought that to the forefront. That was something that my grandpa used to tell me about Blue Sox games back, way back in the day. I guess that was in the 50s, so there is history there. And I was pleasantly surprised, I guess, by just the overall general quality of the baseball that was played. That was one of the things that as it was announced and it was coming, I was like, I'm excited about having baseball in town. But then it was baseball that was worth watching. It wasn't just a sideshow circus type of thing, which, with all the antics and things that go along with it, which add to the enjoyment. But it was fun baseball. So I'm looking forward to that continuing as well.
Well, and as we talk about that, I mean, the baseball was really good last year. We had guys that could play the game, and I'm gonna the credit goes to our coaching staff for last year, but Kyle was part of that staff last year. He was our director of player development, and had a hand in bringing in a lot of those guys. And the great thing about it is that this year, using some of his connections in the game, we're able we were talking about our pitching staff last year. We're gonna have, I would say 90% of our guys are gonna sit 90 to 95 plus. Or, I know some of them are even gonna sit, 98 for, so, well,
So we'll take a moment as John passes the mic over. He mentioned Kyle Dyson. Kyle Dyson in studio with us, the new manager of the Abilene Flying Bison. And Kyle, what was it like knowing this past week we see new coaches? Brian Schottenheimer, the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and you being the new coach and manager for the Bison. What did it mean getting the nod?
I think it's very interesting for the most part. I mean, especially knowing Johnson's I was 15 years old. So this is something we have talked about many, many years ago. And it's a very intriguing opportunity. And I think the way that we do things will be beneficial to the players and beneficial to the town. They get to see quality baseball. Players get to come in. They get to get better day in and day out. They have understanding of growth. They have understanding of themselves as a player and what their capability is on the field and off the field. And I think that's something that we can do very, very well for players, especially my practice because being a sports agent. So we always have to understand how the players understand that, there's certain things you do on the field and there's a level that you have to go to be able to make it to the top. And I think that's something that we can bring to the table to really help these players understand that there's some of these guys that have an opportunity to play on TV, to be in the TV league. So, it's just getting the best out of them and helping them develop, understanding their movement, understanding how they move as a player, understanding what the capabilities of it are day in and day out to help them really hone in on their skills and really develop to become that player that can play in the TV league.
Well, and it gives them a chance to, and Josh mentioned it, and people ask us, what kind of baseball it is. A lot of times you go to certain things and it's guys on their way down. Here you're watching guys that are on their way up, like Kyle mentioned, trying to continue to get better to make it to whatever that next level is for them to continue their baseball career. And so what does it look like as far as, you mentioned, John, during the break, like some guys that may be coming back for the next year, and neither one of you can answer this. What does the roster gathering look like now? Are y'all in the process of that, or how do we get to the Flying Bison team number 2 roster?
It's an ongoing process because you're looking at players that could be Division I, you're looking at JUCO players, NAI, Division II, Division III. So you're having to look at like time frames of like Division I guys. So let's for instance, we have guys from Texas Tech that will be a part of the roster. They may make a run into a regional, they may make a World Series. So you necessarily didn't see those players until after their season's over. You might have some Division II players like Matt Wainwright, he was with us last year. He might come in. If they make a deep run, you probably wouldn't be in until sometime in June. So you have to build a roster based on like what that college is telling you, when they want them to come in. You might have a player that can only play for the second half, or you might have a guy that comes in for the first half and then leaves the second half based on his innings, based on certain factors that the school wants to do with him. So there's a lot of communication, there's a lot of feedback, there's a lot of things that you get from these colleges to be able to have them come in and play during the summertime that you're on their rules, you're not necessarily on our rules. So that's kind of how it works.
So a question I have, we, again, talking about everything else, in the NFL, people have a salary cap, so they're trying to go find the people that fit under that number, whatever that may be. Everybody's going out doing that. So is each team in the Mid-American doing the same thing? Like, you're going to try to get somebody to come here. Is there a chance that another team in the league is saying, hey, well, you can come play here? How does that, I guess, is it any players available? Does that question kind of make sense in what I'm asking? Like, in other stuff, you're going to go draft.
Yeah, I guess you have to recruit against other leagues, other teams in
It's
the
almost
league.
like college recruiting.
Yes, it's a lot like that because you're recruiting against like the North Woods, not necessarily Cape, the top guys are going to Cape. A lot of times you're dealing with agents too, because a lot of times like these college kids have agents. Agents can be a roadblock to be able to get certain players to come play because they might want to be like, hey, well, he can go to the North Woods and be seen here by this guy or this guy, or they may go to you're really competing with tons of leagues out there, and you're also dealing with college coaches as well that might be like, well, we already have them signed to go play in this league, so you may end up getting some guys that they have that are maybe freshmen that aren't going to play as much. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. You
Well, and the other thing is you start talking about Texas Tech, and you had some guys from Nebraska and some other D1 schools. The other thing now is those kids are also having an NIL deal that I guess, there's some kids that may be playing and they're going to go play and they're trying to like, how do I make money and how do I have a life and all that? But then you got the NIL money that comes, I would think would play into play or come into play.
Sometimes it does, but most of the time it's not, because most of the time you're going to have schools that play, that pay you with collective. For instance, like as an agent, we negotiate a lot of times NIL deals through collectives and stuff like that. So for instance, like we had a kid at Texas A&M, we negotiated everything through the collective, and he gets an X amount of dollars from social media posts, going to events and stuff like that. So it really necessarily doesn't play into what we do, but we could offer NIL and stuff like that as well. But that doesn't play a factor as much as like dealing with like the coaches, agents, and other leagues coming into play.
Well, the reason I meant that is like I didn't know if I'm a kid that plays at Tech and I'm part of the collective and my NILers are trying to make sure that I'm still good for Tech. Are most of these kids done with eligibility, or will they be going back to their college?
I would say 90% are going back. You might have a few, for instance, you have a catcher coming in that he's a senior, but he's probably one of the top Division II catchers in the country. So, he'll be coming in and getting looks from, pro teams and stuff before the draft. He could be a guy that either gets drafted in the teens, or he could be a guy that signs as a free agent, but he definitely has a place in professional baseball, that's for sure.
That is an interesting thought. That I guess in the draft now is at the All-Star break, so that would be in July. So you wouldn't necessarily just lose them in the middle of the season like it used to be, I guess, in June before they pushed it back. But that's very, very much what I was talking about as far as just the quality of baseball. There are people out there that are going to continue to play and will have more opportunities. And do y'all see any of the, I guess some of the things that I've heard is some college coaches are a little bit leery of their players playing in some of these leagues now because they're going to get maybe picked off by other colleges. Is that something that y'all have ever seen firsthand?
I see it all the time. It's kind of part of the process now with how
The portal?
works.
Yeah.
You might have a guy that throws just going really, really well, and you might feel calls from multiple schools that are trying to get in on him, and that's where your NIL comes into play quite a bit and stuff. So yeah, it happens.
And again, John or Kyle can answer this. Did y'all have very many like MLB scouts throughout the year that came and watched?
We did, and we also had them jump on that we have an aware system that has a back-end login for professional teams and college coaches. I'd say last year we had more college coaches come in, like Oklahoma State, Arizona State, North Carolina, Texas Tech. And that's just to name a few to come in and watch a kid who was in the transfer portal and grading marks that was here working with me. And it was interesting seeing those guys come in and take a look at him and then make a decision on where he wanted to transfer schools to and stuff. But yeah, there's professional scouts that came in, watch Matt Wainwright, and then we have guys who are athletes.
Is he related to Matt?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, Wainwright is not like Jones, so
Yeah.
I didn't know at the end of the baseball world. And before we turn it back over to John and talk about what's going on this weekend, and of course, that February 8th, tomorrow is the February 1st, that Bison Bash is next Saturday. But Kyle, what are you most excited about being in the manager spot as season 2 kicks off?
Just watching players grow, helping them day in and day out to understand themselves from a growth perspective. You might have a bad game and a lot of guys overreact, go home and do stuff like that would be an example, but it's like understanding, okay, like, why did I have a bad at bat? How do I improve that at bat day in and day out? Or if I have a success, I'm on a streak, I'm doing really well. So how do you correlate that day in and day out to have that success permanently in your career or during the season? So stuff like that, really helping them from a growth perspective that a lot of people don't touch in on. They want to touch on the player development side, but there's also that growth factor that players really need that helps them in the end whenever you're
when your image matters.
Yeah, when you're jumping levels in professional baseball, A-ball, AA, AAA, all the big leagues, you gotta be able to have that growth factor and understand simple play.
Well, John, let's talk about this weekend. It's a big day at the Dodge Jones, and got the Youth Sports Expo happening. Talk a little bit about what's going to be happening tomorrow at the Flying Bison booth.
Well, you know, we never want to miss an opportunity to be able to shake hands with our fans, and we're gonna have Bomber out there to shake hands with the kids as they come by, and we've got some nice giveaways some Bison logo baseballs, some Bison logo lunch bags that we've had that didn't get handed out last year that we're gonna hand out. And, you know, it's just always a fun opportunity to shake hands and preach the gospel of the Flying Bison, and just making sure that everybody has that personal connection. And that's what we have prided ourselves on for the last 18 months, is getting in and shaking hands and really being a part of the community.
What time is it? Is it both days, Saturday, Sunday, or just tomorrow?
Just Saturday. Doors open at 10. They'll go from 10 to 2:30. They're at the Dodge Jones Center on East South 11th, and right next to the zoo in Nelson Park, and
And a lot of construction.
a lot of construction, a lot of soccer fields going into the north of the main building.
Well, again, don't forget tomorrow, and I will say this from the marketing team with the Bison, the gear, the things that they've done. You guys have made it a class act. You've made it a family fun event. You've made it a place to go watch great baseball, have fun while doing it, and so looking forward to year 2. Looking forward to partnering with the Abilene Flying Bison with the Hodge Pack. We actually we'll talk on break. Josh and I have even had some ideas. But again, Kyle, congratulations on the new gig. I'd love one day to get some more insight on this agent stuff. That sounds really cool. But again, John, to you and your team, y'all have done a fantastic job bringing Abilene baseball back, making it fun, and the product has been fantastic.
Well, as you know, I've said all along that I've been charged with making the Flying Bison the most elite brand in all of collegiate summer league baseball, and that's the goal that I have every day. I appreciate our partnership with you, and Josh and Misty, and and us expanding that, moving into 25, and I just every day we're just trying to get better, just like the players. We're just trying to get better.
Right. Well, and again, good luck to the Bison this year. They get ready to roll. Great gear, great stuff in a possible uniform fund revealing next week at the Bison Bash #2. When we come back, Josh and I will get ready for the weekend. And what are we going to do? There is no football.
So that's our alternate uniform for this year.
That's pretty cool.
And we're even doing it on the road as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I think Josh still probably has one of those somewhere.
I got a hat somewhere. I hadn't seen it recently, but
So Sean Ellison, who was our bus driver, found a signed bat from '97, I believe, that we've got hanging in our office.
oh, that's cool. But yeah, that was the time that I was going to all those games at ACU.
Good old Crutcher Scott.
Yeah.
How was that? I mean, I haven't been by that road in a while, but what are they going to do baseball wise? There's no way that stadium's done, is it?
You know what? They were taking the capacity down to like 1,500, and then building it around it. And I haven't driven by in a while either. I talked to him in the fall, and they were like, yeah, it's gonna be at least ready to play on. It may not have any. We may not have any stands. People might be sitting in lawn chairs, but it's gonna be ready to play on. So I don't know what that's gonna look like for them.
Hopefully,
a pretty huge undertaking with a definite like window. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, construction's delayed. Like it.
Well, and what's funny is I was living in College Station whenever they redid Olson and turned it into Bluebell. And I remember driving by that thing in like the first of January and looking at it and saying, there's no way in hell they're gonna play baseball here come second week of February. And they started going 24/7, and those bricklayers laid brick faster than I've ever seen in my entire life, and they got it done. I don't know if I don't ever want to say ACE doesn't have the budget to do something because they tend to find the money over there.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, Sports Life and everything in between as we get ready to send you into the weekend and get ready for first weekend without any football. We'll have a little bit of football if you count the if you can count the Pro Bowl game. I don't know if that is really well, it's not a Pro Bowl game anymore. It's the flag football, but it'll be happening this weekend. Of course, one of the things that kicks off tomorrow here in the Mall of Abilene is the Outlaws and Legends Singer-Songwriter Contest. It'll be down here in the Mall of Abilene at Hef's. Tons of talented artists will be kicking that off tomorrow night. So be sure head over to Hef's, get you some food, and watch some singer-songwriters. Again, we appreciate Coach Dyson and John Stark coming in as the vice and get ready to roll. Sound like they're both kind of excited, ready for season number 2.
Yeah. Like I said, I was not just blowing smoke because they were here. The games that I went to were fun, and it was baseball that was worth watching. And you pointed it out. There's been minor league teams in the area. The Prairie Dogs, and then I used to go to a lot of the San Angelo Colts games, and they had some talented players, no doubt, but they were people that were out of college and still trying to hang on. It didn't make that next step, but were still
weren't quite ready to start a real job.
Right. Some of them were minor league players that didn't pan out, and then they came back. And yes, there were still some flashy players, but these guys out here are guys that are still looking to go, like you said, go up.
Right.
They're not just like some of those other leagues, or some of those independent leagues have players that long since should have just got a day job, and they're still trying to play baseball, which I don't necessarily blame them, because I wish I could still play
And
baseball.
again, it's still fun. They're still able to do it at whether it's not the highest level. It's kind of like the ladies that are on that WAPT and those that play in those non-Korn Ferry PGA tours. They're still good,
Right.
but the level of good is, it's probably smaller than we think on how good they are, but it's a small line, but it's a thick line.
Oh, well, I do agree with that as far as like that. When you talk about the jump between, like, every level, there's a jump. Like when you go from like we've talked about this at the house, because my daughter's in 6th grade, so she's playing basketball, 6th grade basketball. Well, next year you make that jump to 7th grade, and then you're all of a sudden in a different environment. Your coach doesn't have to put you in the game. You don't get your automatic 1 quarter on the court. Like there's more that goes into it, and every jump just gets harder and harder and harder and harder. But then when you're talking about top level professional athletes, major league baseball players, the step down to that guy that made it to the minors that never could quite make that jump is so minute, but yet you can see it on the field.
Right. It's such a
and that 26th man on the roster, that guy that's in AA or AAA that just can't crack being that 26th man on the roster.
Right.
That guy's still a legend in his hometown.
Yeah.
There's people telling stories about, I saw him hit a ball off of that building over there,
That was like
and yet
7 streets over.
Yeah, and yet he can't make that. He can't make that jump, So
well, it's similar, and we got a little bit of time. It's kind of like this singer-songwriter deal that I talked about that's happening here at Hef's. There are some talented people out there, but there's a lot of people out there trying to make it
right
in that industry, and you've got to have the right person find you, hear you, trust you, and give you that shot.
All right, and there's probably some people that are good enough to be more famous, or have a song that gets spun on the radio, but yet it's just never been in that
the right window, the right person hasn't found them. Well, so it is the first weekend with no football, no real football as far as on the field. UFL is coming, so spring football, for those that are interested in that, is coming. But it is a weekend, so what will you do? I mean, as far as TV viewing, now for me, this is kind of where you start transitioning and paying attention for me to a little bit of more basketball. It's a loaded basketball weekend. Duke, North Carolina. North Carolina's a little down, but Duke is good. Tech is going to play University of Houston. Tech is playing well. Baylor's got Kansas coming to town. Auburn, Ole Miss, Bruce Pearl versus Chris Beard. So there's a lot going on. SEC's dominating in basketball as well. They got 10 in the top 25.
That's crazy.
But how will you handle the weekend with no football?
Well, I got basketball all day tomorrow. So I'll be participating in that with my kids. And then the thing is, it's going to be warm outside, so I don't have to really worry about what's on TV. I get to, especially after how cold it's been recently, and the weather has not been conducive to being outside. I just want to kind of hang out outside some. You are right. This is when, like, conference basketball, people established who they are, and now they're playing for those positions and making their resume to get to go to the big dance and all of that. So that at least keeps the entertainment value there. I don't generally sit and watch a lot of basketball like I would football, but it's what's on the TV in the background, just.
And it's loaded. And you've got your kids; they are playing. I've got a feeling your kids are kind of like, if there's a sport on, I'm going to watch it for the most part, especially Luke.
They watch women's basketball. Man.
Yeah, and that's coming up. Caitlin Clark and all that's coming back up. Women's college basketball has been good. Shout out to the lady that's the coach at Tennessee, had a baby, and then like a few days later went ahead and coached. So that was kind of cool. But the Big 12 is making a lot of noise. Of course, you've got Houston, Arizona, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Kansas, all in making a lot of noise there. So lots going on. Football happening next week. We'll set you up for the Super Bowl next Friday as we get ready for that. We'll talk all goofy stuff on that. $8 million, Josh, if we want to get a commercial in it. We'll start looking for that.
We can swing that.
No, maybe next year. $8 million if you want a commercial. But next week, Coach Keith Patterson and Graham Harrell will be here to talk about the new hire and all the things there. Appreciate the Bison guys coming in, Coach Dyson and John Stark. We'll have more ready to rock and roll next Monday. Don't forget to download, subscribe, rate, review. JB Cloud, Greg Austin, the rest of the weekend. Take care. So long, everybody.
So long.